Ladies and gentlemen, dear Hungarian and conservative friends, we have gathered in beautiful Budapest at another European edition of the Conservative Political Action Conference, the biggest and the most important conservative conference globally. An American initiative which for many years has provided a forum for discussions about the future of the United States, Europe and the world. It is therefore an excellent place to share key from the present perspective of Poland reflections regarding these subjects. Ladies and gentlemen, we need more America in Europe. For more than a century, the United States has played a fundamental role in guaranteeing security in Europe. Its participation in the First World War tipped the balance in favor of the Allies. It played the key role in defeating Nazi Germany in the Second World War. And last but not least, it was defending Western Europe against the Soviet threat for the entire period of the Cold War. Europe tends to forget too frequently that it owes its security and its prosperity to the presence and engagement of the United States. European politicians multiply ideas and concepts aimed at pushing the United States out of the Europe, as well as arrogant claims that Europe will manage perfectly on its own. Poland says decisive no to such a stance. We have been consistent in explaining for years. We need more America in Europe, both in the military as well as in the economic domains. More American spirit in Europe in thinking and in action. And exactly for this reason, President Andrzej Duda has announced that the most important priority of the Polish presidency in the European Union in the first half of 2025 will be deepening cooperation between the United States and the European Union. Europe must cooperate closely with the United States, irrespective of who is in power in Washington at a given point in time. Therefore, during his last visit to the United States, President Andrzej Duda met both with President Joe Biden and with Speaker Mike Johnson, as well as with other Republican and Democratic leaders in the Congress, precisely in order to discuss the cooperation and to encourage the United States to get even more involved in Europe, especially in our region. We also had a very good meeting with President Donald Trump in New York. I informed the President that I would be attending CPAC in Budapest. He stressed the value and the significance of the initiative and asked me to convey his warm greetings to all participants. Ladies and gentlemen, we are living in dangerous and unstable times. Russian aggression against Ukraine clearly demonstrated that it's the United States that is and should be the leader in security matters in Europe and across the world. Hence, we were delighted to welcome the decision of the United States Congress on supporting Ukraine, which is defending itself against the Russian aggression. Poland has actively sought such support since the beginning of the war. If we want to live in safe Europe, Russia must not win this war. NATO must be strong, and all its members must live up to their obligations. This is why President Andrzej Duda proposed to increase defense spending by NATO allies up to 3% of GDP. This is the only way to ensure the security to all of us. I know that even some right-wing and conservative politicians in Europe, among leftists and liberals, have long deluded themselves about Russia, Vladimir Putin, and his policy. We have never had such illusions in Poland, because we know Russia perfectly. Therefore, I wish to say loud and clear, Russia never was, is not, and will not be part of the conservative world. It did not, and it does not represent conservative values. It is a total contradiction of them. It represents the Soviet mentality which wants to conquer, enslave, and destroy others. We have known from the history of Poland and Hungary. As Russia's neighbors, we have experienced that many times across centuries. We know Russian and Soviet imperialism. That's why we warned and will keep warning against it all states in Europe and around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, conservative groups are facing crucial time. The European Parliament elections will decide which direction Europe will choose in the nearest future. Will it continue to be the left liberal direction, which today definitely dominates in the European Union? Will there be further attempts to build a European superstate, introduce changes to the treaties and impose restrictions on the rights of individual member states? Or will Europe begin to return to its conservative roots, while the European Union will remain a community of free nations that decide for themselves? As Polish conservatives, we have always advocated a Europe of homelands. Poland, together with Hungary and other countries of Central and Eastern Europe, have repeatedly warned against the misguided policy of the Union, which has resulted, among other things, also in the migration crisis. We were extremely heavily criticized for this, but it was the countries of our region that were right. Today, we can see this extremely clearly. That is why it is so important that the voice of our region, the countries of Central and European and Eastern Europe, play an important role in the debate on the future of Europe. It is so important that the voice of the conservative groups gets stronger in Europe. So important is close cooperation with the United States, not only in the area of security. Thank you.